enough to take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank God. Hallelujah. We have just been enjoying Evangelist Mother, Nurse Rhonda. I love her. I love her. And she's been blessing our souls. And this is the point where you may have to get some Kleenex, some tissue, a box of tissue, and just sit and listen, because this part is going to touch you. And so let me share this. We invite you to join us as we launch our Showers of Rain Deliverance and Healing Ministry, bringing the people to a place of holiness and wholeness under the power of God. And we're going to let her share her testimony, her experience, and how the Lord brought her to a place of wholeness. Welcome back, Mother Rhonda.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to let you know, first of all and foremost, the things that I'm going to tell you now in my story, and we all have a story. Everybody has a story. In my story, first of all and foremost, don't ever let the things that I tell you what happened to me, that I allowed to happen to me, whether it be for fear or for whatever other reason, happen to you. Don't ever do it. One hit is too many. One slap is too many. One throwing you around, busting your head is too many. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to share my testimony with you. My testimony has been shared in churches. It's been shared around the United States here as much as God has allowed me to share it. Prisons, homes, churches, barbecues, just about anywhere that God opened a door for me, I try to tell my testimony to let somebody know that you can make it and God can change your life. You can have a relationship with Him better than any human being can give you down here on this earth. Mother, father, sister, brother, Jesus' relationship with you will mean everything to you, and He can make you whole. Yes. He can make you where you have been bounced around, misused, abused, and make you whole. A whole new person, and make you whole spiritually and physically and mentally. He can make you whole. I'm going to start out my story. I was 15 years old, and I was what the world would say, our parents would say, I was fast. I like boys. And I wasn't like a little girl growing up, like a little thin girl. I was built with muscles and just looked like a older person than what I was, an older young lady. And so it kind of put me up there with older people. And I began to find boys attractive, and I wanted to go out, and my mother was very religious, and I'll say it like that. I mean, she would let me do anything that she didn't think was right. I didn't get to do it. And I can think of a whole bunch of things I didn't get to do as a young girl. But I'm so glad she didn't let me do as many things as I wanted to do. I did enough. But at the age of 15, I decided I had met a young man. And let's just use his name as being Charles. And when I met him, he was so nice. Take his shoes off at the door at my mother's house when she did let him come over. He was so polite. He was so kind. And he was nice and good to me. He'd take me to get barbecue. That's my number one eateries is barbecue. He'd take me to get barbecue and a pound of ribs. I'm sorry, a half a pound of ribs, an order of fries, and a soda. Pepsi usually. And I lived on that, and we dated, and we went on that as much as my mother would let me, which she wouldn't hardly let me go very much. But I had to have a chaperone when I did go. But I did go, and he talked me into marrying him, running away with him. Mm-hmm. So one day I left school at the age of 15, thought I knew everything that you needed to know. I remember when my mother asked me why did I do that and why did I think I was old enough to get married and run away. I told her that I could make a bed real good. I could fry chicken. I could do the things that she had taught me around the house to do, but knew nothing about taking care of finances or nothing about taking care of a man or nothing taking care about really about a house or anything that was really important. just the things that she had raised me and taught me, which was basics, but nothing that I needed to know in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I ran away from school that day. I packed a little knapsack bag and I took a few clothes and got in his car. He was 19 and I was 15. And we went to St. Louis. We're going to get married. Thought that we could get married without a signature or anything, but it didn't work. We went from there to Detroit, Michigan, and I asked one of my aunts would she sign for me, and she told me to get my little self back home. I ended up going back home to my father and my mother, and my father was one, they believe in that switch and in that belt.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came in the door, they were like, where you been? And they already had the cops out looking for me and the police and everything looking for me. But I decided I was going to go with him and be in love with him. He was my everything that I didn't even understand, didn't even know what love was. But anyway, I did. And when I come home, my parents asked me, a bunch of questions and things, and I told them the truth. I lied to my mother, though, and I told her I was pregnant. I wasn't pregnant, but back in the early 60s, if you were pregnant, you could get married. And you could sign for your daughter to get married and have the child. Well, I wasn't pregnant, but Mama didn't know it. To this day, my mother's dead and gone, she never knew that I wasn't pregnant. I just could never tell her that I had lied that lie so I could get married to him. Costing my life, nothing but misery, heartache, shame, everything I can begin to tell you and so much more. As life went on, I married him. We got married, and the day that we got married, the day before, he wrecked his car. His grandmother was a funeral home person, her and her husband, and they decided we could have the hearse to ride around in. But right then I should have known that doom all the way. But we took the hearse and we rode around the town a little bit, and it was horrible. The day I got married, I went down to change my clothes. My mother had got me a blue dress, and when I put it on and he came in there, he beat me up in the bathroom downstairs, waiting to get married upstairs. He beat me all up downstairs in the women's bathroom. I went upstairs. I couldn't tell Mama. I wanted to tell my mother what had happened, but I couldn't tell her that I had lied. I knew I'd get whipping and I'd get whatever I should have gotten. It would have been so much better to have had that than what I went through in life. But moving on, I married him, and it was horrible. Horrible. I look at movies and things that they have on TV, and I guess everybody thinks theirs is the worst, and to me, mine is the worst to me. But I married him, and day one, when we come back to the house and got a few groceries, he showed me how to stack the food, all the greens together, all the peas together, all the corn together, everything had to be right in a certain place. He would use a white glove-like towel to wipe everything clean. If it wasn't like that every day, I got what they call a whipping. He would take his belt off, and I would get a whipping. Now you say, why did you put up with that? And nowadays, there's no way that I would ever put up with that. And I don't want any other woman to think that's the right thing, because it was the wrong thing. I was 15 years old, and he had, by that time, put fear in me. So much so that everything he said, I'll kill you, I'll do this, I believed what he said. I believed it. And I would get a whipping just about every day because I did something wrong. Like, I didn't clean good enough. He would take that towel when he came home from work, and go between the slats in the bed and go different places where I didn't think to clean, and then I got the whipping. Every day, just about. I can't remember hardly a day that I didn't get whipped for that, okay? And it hurt, okay? Sometimes with the belt, sometimes his hand, sometimes a slap, whatever. We got married. The night I got married, I had to sleep underneath the bed. Okay, and that was okay. That was okay because he wouldn't have to hit me when I was laying there beside him. He wouldn't have to slap my face and pinch me and hurt me real bad. So underneath the bed was good. That was okay. I got married December the 21st. It was cold, but it was okay. It was warm in the house, but underneath the bed with no cover. Of course, I couldn't have any cover. But, it was all right underneath the bed because that way, like I said, he'd turn over and hit me and slap me and do whatever. I wasn't nothing but a piece of garbage to him. That's all I was. As time went on, it stayed like that every day. Come home every day. Then I began to get the rules of the house. You're on the phone to somebody else. Whenever I'd be using the phone, it would have to be another man. Never would it be his mother, my mother, or anybody else. It had to be another man. So that's another whipping. So I couldn't answer the phone unless I knew what was going to come, what was going to happen. Okay, then not only the things had to be lined up, so the kitchen had to be just spotless, okay? No dishes ever left. Refrigerator always clean. I worked all the time. I was not allowed to sit in the living room and watch TV. I was not allowed to sit on the couch. I had to sit on the floor, okay? And I did it because he said he loved me. And then he'd say he was sorry after he beat me. He was sorry. And all I heard was sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But my parents had told me, you make your bed hard, you're going to lay in it. My mother would have let me come back home, but my father, he was a hard man, and he said no. And a couple times they did let me come back in, but they couldn't stay long after I had my children, just a few days, and then I had to leave because they weren't taking care of another family, which I understand. Times got rougher and rougher and rougher, harder and harder and harder. There was never any peace, hardly ever. There was never going out to dinner. There was never going to the shows. There was never going to anything that was fun. He drank a lot. He had his friends over, and they would drink a lot, and I was his little slave. Go in the kitchen and get me a this. Go get me another beer. Go get them this. Go do this here. I couldn't even go to sleep while he had company because I had to go be the runner. I had to go do whatever it is he wanted me to do. I did that for years until finally I did get pregnant. And after I found out I was pregnant, I thought, okay, maybe he'll be nice about everything. Well, he didn't want a child. Okay, he didn't want a child, but I didn't know that. I didn't know anything. I didn't know that the mailbox, he had a string tied to it, so if I opened up the door and went anywhere, because I wasn't allowed to go anywhere, okay, that the string would break. And that he'd known I had went somewhere. I didn't even know anything about that. I didn't know how to walk, and when I had to keep my head down to the ground all the time and walk or get it hit down onto the ground. I had no friends, of course. I wasn't allowed to go back and see my parents. My mother, no. The day we got married, that day, a few people, I only had about 12 people at the little wedding that we had, but they had got a few little gifts, and my mother brought them over, and she brought him up to the stairs where we lived at, the little apartment we had got, and he wouldn't let her in. And I was hurt so bad because that was my mother. But it didn't matter. I was married to him, and what he said went. And he opened up the window when my mother left, and she left the gifts at the door. And we lived about on the 3rd floor, I believe, and he took the presents and he threw them down there, and they hit her on top of the head. And that hurt me really bad. I couldn't tell Mama that it wasn't me doing it and that he did it because I couldn't talk to Mama. I couldn't call Mama. I couldn't do anything with her. So I didn't know whether or not she thought I did that or not, but the packages came down and they hit my mother, and I saw them as they fell. And that hurt me really, really bad. But I can't do anything about it. I better not say nothing about it. Better not do nothing about it. Can't even leave the house. Can't drive a car. Can't do anything. Of course, I didn't have a license. Hadn't graduated from high school. My whole story was just nothing. In the beginning, that's the way it was. My mother had taught me about Jesus. She had told me over and over again, don't hurt Jesus, Rhonda. And I would say, I'm not hurting him, Mom. Yes, you are. When you're doing things that's against him and he doesn't like, you're hurting him, Rhonda. All he did was love you. Don't hurt him like that. And I tell her, Mom, I'm not hurting him. It is when you do things wrong, Rhonda, you're hurting him. She kept telling me that. She kept telling me that. Through the years, she kept telling me that. And until God really took my life over, I did hurt him. And I know that now. And I'm so sorry. And I can spend the rest of my life trying to make up what I've done, all the things in my life to try to say I'm sorry for. I can't get them all together to just take it all back. I can only say that I'm sorry. I can only say I'm sorry. As time went on, I had a daughter first, and I thought it'd be okay. He didn't like the crying. You make the baby be quiet, she gets the whipping, or you get the whipping. My baby was a baby, an infant. I'd take the whipping, of course. I'd take the whipping, and I'd tell her be quiet. Well, she was born with asthma, so I guess that's why she cried a lot, but she cried. But I do know when there's tension in the house and there's stress and all that in the house with the mother, and I was trying to nurse her, which was going right into her. All the tension, all the bad things that was in me was going into her because of the fact that I was upset more than I was normal. I was very upset. I couldn't do anything but cry, because who are you going to tell? You can't go nowhere. I couldn't even go to the grocery stores. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have nothing. I was just a little girl that was being misused and abused and just tortured. And that's the way it was going to be for 9 years. 9 years. It got worse and worse after that. I found I was pregnant again. Within 14 months, I had another little girl. And with him partying like he was partying and going out drinking and coming in and knocking me around, doing whatever he was doing, I would try to tell him nice, the kids are sleeping, the baby's sleeping. I don't care about the babies being sleeping. Wake them up. Really loud and all that kind of thing. And the babies would cry. And of course, I had to try to get them back to sleep again while he would be in there drinking and partying, playing cards and doing whatever he was doing. Along with messing with other women, doing what he was doing. Wasn't nothing I could do about it. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go home. And being at 15, who's going to take me in? I did go a couple of times when I could get away to ask my uncle and aunt could I stay with them, and they didn't want that. They wanted to just go tell your mother, just go home. But I couldn't tell my mother that lie that I had told. I just couldn't tell her that. My mother was I never knew my mother all I knew my mother was to teach Sunday school and to be in church all of her life. We didn't go to clubs, we didn't go to parties, we didn't drink at our house, we didn't go to the shows, we didn't really even watch TV unless it was something like Andy Griffith on, because you couldn't watch cowboys because they were shooting and killing. You couldn't listen to the radio because of the bad music, so you didn't do anything. And my mother had 7 children. But she gave us that foundation that God knows I'm so thankful for. Without that, I may never have known Jesus, never have known him, but I'm so grateful. I'm 77 years old now, and words will never tell you how grateful that I am of what she taught me and what she gave me. I'm so thankful. As time went on, it got worse and it got worse. I got hit, I got beat, I got hit many times, waking up in the middle of the night, if I got to sleep at night at all, locked in the basement, stay down there for a few days because you're not coming upstairs. The kids, the babies didn't get to be taken care of. He'd go to work and then he'd tell me they'll be okay till I get home, and I would try to get them to, but they were little, they couldn't open up the doors and things, and so I couldn't, and he had it locked, so I couldn't get upstairs. I would cry and talk to him through the door and say, Mama loves you. I would cry and talk to my babies like that until they got older and older, and then they began to play with other children. And they were outside playing which they were never allowed to go outside, but of course I snuck them out when he'd go to work sometime. And when I did, they were outside, and my name was not Rhonda. My name was the B-I-T-C-H word, and that was my name. And they didn't know no different. And they were playing with their little friends, and they would say my name, and they'd say, oh, you said a bad word. You call your mother a bad name. And they'd say, no, I didn't. That's my mama's name. And they were so sincere about it when they said it, and I looked at them. I couldn't tell them the truth, because I'm going to get beat again for telling them what my real name is if they say my name. They could call me mommy sometime, but for the most part, never say my name, what my name was. They didn't grow up knowing my name like that. And that's okay. I mean, I lived through it. It's okay. Wasn't okay, but I lived through it. God helped me live through it, even when I didn't even know him like I know him now. He took care of me, even when I didn't even want him, when I wanted to do what I wanted to do and just act up or whatever. He took care of me. He blessed me through the times, through the years, all the years. He's just been there for me. That's why I said you need that personal relationship with God. And I didn't have it then. My mother did, but I didn't have it. But you need that so you can have a friend, so you can have a real friend, somebody you can talk to anytime, and you can tell him anything. He already saw whatever you're doing. Don't forget, you women out there, because I didn't know this. Believe me, I didn't know this. But he can see in the day and the night. There is no night with him when he looks down here. The Bible says it. It's always night. It's always daytime to him. So whatever you're doing in between the sheets, whatever you're doing, he sees you, what you're doing. I didn't know that till I found that in the Bible. It doesn't say he sees me in the sheets. It just says that he sees there's no night. He looks upon, he sees all of it.
Yes,
and when I think about that, the things that he saw me do, all I can do is say I'm sorry. All I can do is ask him to forgive me. All I can do is just go on from where I was and keep on going on. let me get back to my story. So the worst of the worst that I made a list out, and I began to write down the things as time went on, and the things, not that I would forget them, but maybe I could help somebody else and tell somebody one day, or maybe a judge or somebody, anybody that listened to me, anybody. I couldn't go outside and sit down outside. I couldn't do anything, had no friends or nobody. But I began to write things down of what all that he did to me. Of course, I had to hide it. I wasn't allowed to have anything religious, all the little religious records that I had. He burned them on top of the stove. We had gas heat, so they just melted and burned on the stove. Burned the Bible on the stove. Every little thing that I had, anything that had anything to do with God, burned on the stove. He was twisting my arm back one day, and he had twisted all, broke so many bones in my body. When I saw a neurologist not too long ago for what I have wrong with me now with my bones, they told me, one neurologist said he had never seen a person have that many broken bones inside of them as I have now, and still living, because bones have nutrients in it, just like muscles and everything else has everything to help you carry on. That's why I tell you, take care of yourself. I didn't do that, and I let somebody just misuse me and beat me to pieces and just do whatever they wanted to do with me. Times that, and I hate to tell you this here, but times that and you can think whatever you want to think about me. Maybe you want to think that I'm not even telling the truth, but I don't have no reason to lie. I'm telling you the truth. I'll tell it till the day I die. To anybody that'll listen to me, that my main thing is to tell you, don't let somebody do this to you. And then later on, you're going to have to forgive that person. And we haven't even got to that part yet. But let me just tell you, times he would cough up the sputum that he had in his mouth, big hunks of it, and force it down my throat. I'd be fighting him, trying to not get it down there. But when you're getting smacked and hit and kicked, you know, sometimes you had to do what you had to do. Just swallow it. It's just bad. Kicked in the head. I had long hair, and he'd pick my head up and just hit it on the floor, up and down, up and down. And you say, why did I go to a police officer? I did. I went to the police officer 2 times. One time when I went, actually, I didn't go. I was able to call. They came to the house, which was a horrible thing. You know, I wanted them to take him and put him in prison and lock him up so he didn't get out. Because if he got out, oh, I'm really in big trouble. Because when they leave, oh, he's going to really tear me up. I knew it. I knew it. If he beats me for other stuff, you know that's going to happen. The police came after having a black eye and all messed up. And I called them secretly. They came. And they sit there and told me, sit down in the house, sit down in a chair like nothing. And they saw me, and they said, now, when they got ready to leave, because they ended up hitting a conversation where they talking about racing and ball, playing ball and all that kind of stuff. Well, it was his friend that he went to school with. And when they got through, they looked at me and said, ma'am, you need to be nice. You need to be really nice to this man. He wouldn't do that stuff to you if you were nicer to him. Now, you be nice, okay? Don't let us have to come out here again, because we're going to end up taking you to jail, okay? Now, don't do that. Don't cause us to do that, okay? Now, you just be nice, okay? Straighten up and do the things he asked you to do. He ain't asking for too much. Shut up. You don't even know what this man is having me do. But I couldn't say that. I just looked at him. And when he left, I don't even have to tell you what happened to me. You already know what happened to me. You already know. You already know. And then it wasn't just so I could go in a room and cry and get up and get this done. Get up and get that done. Get that kid shut his mouth up. Do this here. Anything I did, and I was scared of him. When he would tell me that he would kill me or one of the kids, I believed him. I believed him. There was even a point at one time where we used to hang clothes on the line, and in between the sheets, on one sheet you could hang long and nobody could see between the sheets. And on the other side of the sheet, the other side couldn't see between the sheets. And he hung him on a clothesline, put a clothesline around his neck. God just helped me to go out there that day to look and see my son, a baby boy, okay, probably in the months. He's like 16, 17 months old, just with the rope going around. And he's like, get back. And I'm like, and I ran then to try to save my baby's life. I did save his life. I grabbed him, and you could have killed me then. When it got that extreme over my children, you could have killed me then. Because I took the whippings, and I took whatever I had to take, but I'm not going to let you kill my child. I mean, you're going to have to kill me too, if that's the case. But that I did have about me. Just something God gave me. Nothing good about me, just something God gave me. Another time, he had took that same child and put him down what we would call a sewer at the end of a street. Jesus. And he put him down the street. And when he put him down the street, my son caught hold of a limb down in the sewer so I could pick him back up out of the sewer. I picked him up out of the sewer, and I did everything I could do to try to even get to a hospital. Don't you know he had the cabs? When I would call a cab, the cab would tell me, I can't pick you up. You can't go with us. we can't take you nowhere. And they didn't take me nowhere. I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't get away. There was no buses. I lived in a little town. There was no buses. There was nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. He'd smack me on the street when I'd be outside with him. And one time a couple guys walked down the street and said, man, don't hit that woman like that. And he cussed them out. And then he said, no, she's been taught that, and I know the devil gave him that because he wasn't even a Bible reader at all. And he smacked me on the other side, and he said, that's the way she believes. Don't the Bible say you smack them on one side, you can smack them on the other side, and they'll take it? So he smacked me on the other side. Jesus. What can I do? Just hold my face and say, please stop, please stop. Remember, I'm 15, 16, 17 years old when I had the second child, okay? I can't tell you a good time. So I'm not going to lie and tell you about the good times because I can't think of a good time. I mean, never think of a good time. I don't know a good time. I wish I could think of, say, oh yeah, sometime I can't think what they are. I just don't know what they are. All I can think is what I had to go through, okay? For disobeying, okay? For being disobedient, for lying, telling my mother something that wasn't true. Going on with my story. Later on, I got pregnant again, ended up having 2 boys. That was the 2 boys I told you about, the baby boy of hanging on the clothesline or going to hang on it, and the other one, and the same son going down in the drain there, going almost, and then able to get him out. And this man has never apologized for anything that he did, but we haven't even got to, let's say, the good part yet. All through the years, it was like this here. Me never driving, me never going anywhere on my own, me never having any what you call me time now. This is not the Rhonda you would see now. Not that I would kill him or do anything bad, although thoughts in my mind back in the day, I thought, but I thought about my children. If I do something to him, I'm going to lose my children. I didn't want to lose my children. If I go to jail, I won't have my kids. That's all I could think. I couldn't think straight like I do now. I didn't know about public assistance, how I would even take care of children by myself. I didn't know anything about any of that kind of life. My parents worked, and I didn't know anything about that. Later on, I learned all of that after I finally got away from it, but it took years to get away. Years, and nothing but a God that died the night and the day that I finally did get away by the help of my sister, who helped me with the broom that she played like was a gun, but he wasn't at home. But this is many years later. But the things I went through during the time, it was worse to worse to worse. I got a list of things I'm just going to tell you. But I want to tell you this one thing, and I think it was one of the things that really broke everything, that just stopped it. Because on February the 4th of 1971, I was pregnant again. This is going to be the 5th one. Well, he didn't want none of them. So when he found out I was pregnant, I didn't even tell him until I think I was almost 4 months, because I couldn't tell him because I was going to get beat for being pregnant. There was no going to no doctor visits. Now, you know that already. No prenatal care, none of that kind of stuff. Because I'm sure now, when I thought about it through the years, that's so I wouldn't tell the doctor why I had the bruises and why I had the black eyes and why I had the things wrong. Because go to the doctor and they find out, then he put him in jail. And if he gets out of jail, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to get beat. And my kids, what they going to do, and how am I going to take care of them? There's just so many more questions than it was answered. So I didn't get any of that stuff. When it was time to have the baby, they would tell me, how come you haven't seen somebody? And they go fussing at me, and I had to come up with a lie. And I just say, I just didn't know. We moved from another place. I just tell me the lie I could come up with, because what can I say? I'm trying to save my life and save my children, and I got to do what I got to do. Then I didn't know Jesus like I know Jesus now. Oh, when you get a relationship with him and you really get to know him, it's such a different thing than saying, oh, I go to church on Sunday, I go to prayer meeting Wednesday night, that's about it, and I read the Bible every now and then, when I ain't collected dust. You don't even know him. You don't even know him. If you say things like that, you don't know him. I'm talking about a relationship that you have where 3 o'clock in the morning, he's right there. 2 o'clock in the morning, he's right there. He's talking to you. He tells you things. He walks with you. You know he's there. You can feel him. You know he's there. I'm talking about the relationship I have. I guess one of the main things I want to make sure that you all remember is don't let nobody misuse, abuse you. Father, mother, sister, brother, boyfriend. I guess girls got girlfriends now, which is nothing but just wrong, okay? And I'm going to tell you just like it is, I'm not lying to you. God don't like this kind of stuff, okay? He made a man for a woman and a woman for a man. Not 2 women and not 2 men. And that's the way it is. And I'll leave that alone. I'm telling you what, though, I'm going to tell you the truth about it. I didn't come this far to lie about anything. My life is at stake here, and I'm going to die one day, and I got to see Jesus. All the stuff I lived through and then die and go to hell, that can't happen to me. It just can't. I'm not going to allow it to, because I'm going to live right. I'm going to live right, and I'm going to do right. I'm going to do the things that God tells me to do and shows me to do and teaches me to do. That's what I'm going to do, okay? That's how I'm going to do. I'm going to live this life walking upright so I can live again. That's what I'm going to do, okay? That's what's my mind. That's my goal. That's my everything. But let me go on. Found out I was pregnant again. And I'm having to tell you 9 years and probably less than an hour or an hour. So there's no way I could cover it all. If I ever get to wherever you are or get to a place where somebody is and I can tell my story, I will tell my story in full length, given the time. But at any rate, just hitting some high spots. Next thing I knew was being pregnant again. I told you I didn't tell him until about the 4th month. He came home from work one afternoon for lunch. He took if you know anything about beds back in the day, they call them slats, that they keep the rails on the bed so the mattress can rest on them. He pulled that out and he began to beat me upstairs. I mean, right and left, blood was going. He was just hitting me. So I would miscarry, which I did. He would throw me on the floor and he would check me. And you women know what that means, okay? Until he could feel the head. He couldn't feel the head, back on the floor, get beat. I'm running, I'm trying to do everything. I'm screaming, I'm hollering. Nobody comes to my rescue. Nobody comes nowhere around. I'm just hollering like a chicken, almost with his head cut off. And throw me back on the floor, check me. You better go ahead and hurry up and have the baby. I don't know how to hurry up and have a baby. I don't know how to that. I'm not a nurse then. I don't know nothing about I didn't even graduate from high school. I don't know how to do it. How am I supposed to hurry up? I'm trying to have it. I don't know how. That kept on until finally he felt the head of the baby. Then he said, call a cab. And you better clean this mess up. All this blood all over the wall. You better get that mess cleaned up. And I got to go to the hospital. I said it so nice as I could so he wouldn't hit me, smack my face and everything. Ended up going to the hospital, called me a cab. He did. And the cab man said, well, you're bleeding like this here. What's wrong with you? I told him, I said, I'm miscarrying. I'm having a baby. I fell down the stairs. Of course, I lie again, okay? Man takes me to the hospital. I'm half semi-conscious now because of the blood that I've been losing. All I'm thinking about is I got to get back and clean that blood up off the wall and all the floor and stuff because I'm going to get whipped again for the mess being on the wall and all this stuff. I didn't know. I was getting despondent, but I didn't even realize that I was. You know how postpartum and different things, I didn't know what them words meant then. I didn't know nothing about any of that kind of life. I just knew what was happening to me. I had nobody to call. And I know you say call the police or whatever, can't use the phone, first of all. If you have to be, I guess, in my shoes to understand what I'm saying. Every turn and everything that you do, no TV, no sitting on the couch, no doing that, just cook, do this here, and the cook wasn't right, throw it all on the floor. Sometimes take the flour out the cabinet, throw it all over the floor, take the sugar, throw it all out the floor, now get it up. I mean, you just don't know. I can't even begin to tell you the things. Wash my clothes. Oh, not at a laundromat. Are you kidding? I couldn't go to the laundromat. You get out there and wash the clothes by hand. I learned how to wash clothes by hand. I learned when I had my kids by myself, and I finally ran away one day and stayed in an empty, abandoned house. I was hiding, and I didn't have nothing to take care of the kids with. When I see these mothers now and they say, we got to have this table, this pretty thing in the bathroom where we can do a changer table or whatever they call it whenever they're changing their babies, they just don't know what times there was back in the day when I came along. And especially in the situation I was on, I learned how it was to have 2 boys and take my bra and had 2 little cups and make it for both of them so they could go to the bathroom if they needed to. Take my underclothes off and make them for my children, tear them all up. I didn't matter about what I had on. I had to try to keep them so they could stay with me. My mom would leave a gallon of milk outside on the street, and I'd run and go get it and bring it upstairs because she couldn't do anything without her getting in trouble. So I didn't want all of that. And then one bottle did the 2 boys and the little girls. I fed them the best I could for whatever I ate, they ate. And if you understand what that means, you understand how I ate, and then I fixed it so in my mouth they could eat it. And then you don't know. But I know how to get by. And God did teach me that on how my lap became a table, a changing place. While I'm driving or doing anything later in life when I could do it and was getting away from it, I knew how to throw them legs up and change diapers, and I learned how to do things. But let me go on. So anyway, I'm having the baby. I get to the hospital. Oh, before that, he had got a girlfriend, more than one. okay? A couple of times the girls had come by the house and said, you know, we want some child support. He'd tell me, get in the room, get in the other room. And I go get in the other room, and then he'd talk to them, whatever he did. I'm not paying no child support. He'd be hollering at them. Understood he had 4 more children besides my 4 that I had, okay? In his lifetime while he was married to me. Hey, do what you, too bad they couldn't all mess with him and had him all the time, because I didn't want him. All he did, I felt like to me, was rape me. That's all it was. It wasn't nothing, no love, no nothing. Just do what you got to do, and the words that he told me to do and how to do it. It was just awful, and it was wrong and painful, but it didn't matter to him. But at any rate, I get to the hospital, and he had already had this girl over to our house, went upstairs and did what he had to do, told me get in the kitchen with the kids, and I did. I mean, I know y'all think I'm downright stupid, crazy. Call me all the names you want, I was, but I was afraid of him, and if you ever have that kind of fear, until you do, you don't understand. You wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But I can't explain it any better than what I'm doing it. But at any rate, they came downstairs and get up there and wash them sheets and clean up the bedroom and all that.